We're back in my old stomping ground of West Sussex to meet a wonderful trio of musicians, Rowan Piggott, Rosie Hodgson and Philippe Barnes, who together are the Wilderness Yet. And they take their name from the Gerard Manley Hopkins poem that goes, "What would the world be once bereft of wet and of wildness? Let them be left, oh let them be left, wildness and wet. Long live the weeds and the wilderness yet." Rowan, Rosie, Philippe, good morning. Lovely to see you.
Good morning.
Where have you brought us to, Rosie?
This is Iping Common and Autumnal Common. They're attached to each other, and I grew up about a mile and a half down the road from here.
Right, and so is it a big stretch of land here?
Yeah, it's a big stretch of land, mostly owned by Sussex Wildlife Trust, and it's a site of special scientific interest.
Oh, wonderful. And we're going to go for a walk through it,
We
are
are.
we? Oh, that's brilliant. Let's get going then. I mean, I should say that it's a really autumnal day.
Yeah.
You might hear the leaves rustling underfoot, and the colours in the trees are wonderful. I'm sure I smelled a whiff of wood smoke as well. It's that kind of day, isn't it?
It is.
So did you spend your childhood running about on this common?
I did, yes, a lot of it. And it's quite an easy walk up here, and brought the dogs up here most days. So, yeah, the best thing about growing up in the middle of nowhere, although not many people around here to entertain us, like we had lots of room to run around, so this is what we did most days.
And did you make dens in the wood and things like
Yes.
that? Yes, of course. Well, do you think that's where an interest in the natural world came from, having a childhood like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there were children in the village that we played with a lot, but most of my playtime was really out, so that's all I really knew.
Quite a lot of silver birches here as well, aren't there?
Yes, they're very pretty, and they do feature quite a lot in my songwriting.
Oh, do they?
Yes, they do.
So has this place inspired you to write music?
Definitely, yeah. And the first song I think we're going to sing you is entirely inspired by the 5 miles surrounding here, basically.
Tell me more about that.
It's called Beauties of Autumn, which is very seasonal for us. It's got lots of things you find on the common. So it mentions the gorse and the heather, and how in early mornings the spiders' webs have dew on them and they sort of light up and twinkle.
Well, that's beautiful, that when that happens.
It's so gorgeous, isn't it? And then it's got some silver birches in it. I think it mentions the deer parks over near Petworth. But it's sort of about this time of year and the year turning and all the bounties that autumn brings. Stags and bucks join the rut to try their luck in sporting, and all the day through vale and glade you'll hear the victors roaring. The manners moving through the flock say time we were away, for winter's dark still summer's light night bringing down the day, and the sun sinks south, winter bound, she's calling her birds to the wing. So the swallows of summer slip away, and the beauties of autumn roll in. The silken webs that thread the dew between the gorse and heather, they shrivel with the changing course and temper of the weather. The squirrel stores her hips and toes to keep the cold at bay, while winter's dark still summer's light night bringing down the day, and the sun sinks south, winter bound, she's calling her birds to the wing. So the swallows of summer circle away, and the beauties of autumn roll in. Onward it down sits nature's crown, the beech and maple flaming, whilst the apple and the sloes do blow with branches heavy laden. The blackbird in the bramble whistles merry as she may. But winter's dark, still summer's light night, bringing down the day. And the sun sinks south, winter bound, she's calling her birds to the wing. So the swallows of summer slip away, and the beauties of autumn roll in. And the sun sinks south, winter bound, she's calling her birds to the wing. So the swallows of summer slip away, and the beauties of autumn roll in. But what of those that brave the cold in Den and Dray and Barrow? They hunker down as frost abounds, the fields now ploughed and furrowed. Heed not the call that draws the swallow half the world away, but that winter's dark, still summer's light night, bringing down the day. And the sun sinks south, winter bound, she's calling her birds to the wing. So the swallows of summer slip away, and the beauties of autumn roll in. And the sun sinks south, winter bound, she's calling her birds to the wing. So the swallows of summer slip away, and the beauties of autumn roll in. And the beauties of autumn roll in.
That was glorious and really appropriate here. The beauties of autumn roll in, and the gorse is behind you with just a little few flecks of yellow left on it, but with lots of brown leaves caught in it. Very autumnal and very appropriate for your song. How does it feel to sing it here?
It's lovely, actually. I don't think I've ever sung it up here before.
So it was inspired by here, but you've never sung it here?
Yeah, and I actually wrote it down at Halsey Manor, and actually there's quite a similar feel to the Quantock Hills as here, so got Heathland and rolling hills and lots of gorse and heather up there, but it's definitely a home song for me, but it's nice to sing it here.
Let's walk on. So Rowan, tell me about the Wilderness Yet and what your philosophy is, what it is that you do as a band.
Well, we first got together as... We actually put a song together for a project that I ran called the Songhive Project, which was a project to raise money for the plight of the bees.
Right, and tell us more about that.
So it was a project that took all these folk songs that had lots of bee lore, things like Rudyard Kipling's Bee Boy song, and wove them all together into what ended up being a compilation album of lots of different artists. And we had people like Nancy Kerr on there with her lovely song Dark Honey, and the Reingen sisters put a track on, and Rosie and I put the Bee Boy song on, but then Rosie had written this other song called We Must Away, and we were sort of trying to arrange it as a duo. We used to play as a duo, and then Rosie said, we need something a bit more, I can't remember how you put it, a bit more upbeat or something. And she said, why don't we get Philippe to play guitar on it? And so Philippe came down for the day, and we recorded this song, and it was the first time we played together as a trio. And we just had such a nice time and a really good laugh, and the trio came about because of that, recording that one song.
Right.
And then I suppose because that was a project to do with nature and to do with the environment and the environmental crisis, then the band's philosophy kind of got founded around that, and we kind of stuck with our nature themes. And I think, folk is quite often a vehicle for protest and change, and so we sort of still see it as that.
Do you take traditional songs as well as writing your own material?
Absolutely, yeah. So in the past we haven't recorded too many traditional songs, but our most recent album is almost entirely traditional songs.
And entirely a cappella, isn't it?
Entirely a cappella, yeah.
With no accompaniment.
No
That's
accompaniment.
Quite a bold step.
Yeah, so a lot of our fans would come up to the CD table after gigs and say, "Oh, which CD has the most harmony singing on it?" It's a big hit doing harmony singing, and I think, just has been very popular all along. But on each of our albums, apart from the most recent, we've only had 2 harmony songs. So the new album is partly for those people who always come up and ask for them. I can point to that one and say, there we go, there's a whole load of harmony songs, you can have that.
But is it a creative challenge to sing entirely a cappella and to arrange the songs entirely a cappella?
Yeah, I think doing a range of songs and keeping it interesting for a whole album is certainly a challenge. And I think there were a number of songs that we wanted to put on there from the start, and then there were a few that we put in there to vary it up.
To give you a different texture? Yeah,
to give us a different texture. Also, there was we have this thing where on each of our albums so far we've always put a set of tunes, because we also play tunes in sessions and we're traditional players in that regard. So I said, we should have a tune set on this album. I thought we should lilt them and not do them with instruments.
So you sang the tunes?
So we sang the tunes, and it wasn't very popular with Philippe to start with, that idea.
Why not?
I just thought it could go terribly.
But surely you practiced.
But, when I joined the band, I also said I wasn't going to sing, so...
So you've given up a lot of things.
Yeah.
So your objections were overcome, and did it go well in the end?
Yeah, more overruled, but... it did. It sounds really good. It's one of my favourite tracks now.
All right, okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, maybe you could sing an a cappella song, could you, for us?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a song called In a Fair Country that sounds quite traditional, and it has a traditional chorus in that the chorus is a floating verse that's used in a lot of other songs, but the rest of the song is all written by Rosie, and it has a lot of folklore about trees in it.
You want to say a bit more about the song, Rosie?
Yes, it's all about the folklore surrounding British native trees. Some of them ones that people are very familiar with, and some of them that are unsung heroes, I think, of the British tree world. So my favourite verse is about the alder. Alders quite often grow near water, and the places where they grow all together are called cars, and that's where Robin Hood was supposed to have hidden when he was an outlaw and things like that. So it's got all of these things woven into it. And alder is used for lock gates and things because it goes super hard in water and burns really, really hot, so it's used in forges. And so it's got this lovely whole, everyone's after it, they love to use alder. So that's my favourite verse of the whole song. But I use the floating verse, the oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country, as the chorus.
Wonderful, I'd love to hear it. Plenty of trees here, so we should stand near some trees and sing it.
Know you in the churchyard she sighs and she groans under the weight of old sins and old bones. She'll find no relief, for she cannot die, only suck alive from the dead that in their graves lie. The oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country. We sigh for the summer as we summon the May, seeking the favour of fortune and fay. But less now she blushes in hedges and groves, curse he that harms hawthorn as she blossoms and grows. The oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country. The willows that flank the river bank side watch lives wax and wane with the pull of the tide. From cradle to coffin they'll weave and they'll spin, and the willow lost love and lost kin. The oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country. Oh, older, her feet in the water, flame in the forge and stone in the stream. Though the blacksmith, the dyer, and the cobbler caught her, she shields in her shady cars, her robin the green. The oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country. And over the landman strips barren and bare, where the spirits that linger, death and despair, sweeps the lady of birch with her silvern skin, and all that was tainted shall be pure again. The oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country. The oak and the ash and the apple tree would blossom and bloom in a fair country.
Great to see the leaves falling behind you from the trees and the silver birch here just to our right as you sang that. I wonder if there's a little warning in there as well. I mean, your thing about they would blossom in a fair country. Is there a sense of the changes that are going on that maybe make them not blossom?
Absolutely. So the original verse is the oak and the ash and the apple tree do blossom and bloom in my fair country. I think that's how it is in North Country Made. But yeah, just change the one word and I think it changes the whole feeling of the song. There should be more of them and we all know it, but it's not happening. So
is that a theme that runs through a lot of your work, that you're concerned about what's happening to our countryside and our ecology?
Yeah, it's about humans' connection with the natural world and how it's not how only it benefits us but how we abuse it. and fair enough, people didn't know in the past what was to come, but we know now and we're not doing enough.
Well, we'll talk more about that in a moment, but let's carry on with our walk. Where are we going now?
Ooh. So many choices up here. There's usually a little pond down there, a dew pond, but sometimes it's not here, so it sort of comes and goes with the seasons. So maybe we should walk that way and then we could walk up to the sort of fairy mound at the top.
Fairy mound?
Yeah.
I love a fairy mound. Let's go. So Philippe, I'd like to understand a little bit about your musical background. How did you first get into music?
Always kind of tried a lot of stuff. My parents were keen for me and my brother to learn, so they got us piano lessons. And my mum particularly had a bad experience with learning music, and she...
What happened?
Well, the school, the music teacher would walk down the line and make all the kids sing, and you'd either get to join the choir or you'd be sent for extra needlework.
No! Oh, horrible. So she was traumatised by that and determined that you wouldn't feel the same things.
Yeah, so she really encouraged both of us to play music, and then they were slightly concerned when I decided to do it for a living.
Yes. Well, it's a precarious living, isn't it?
It is, but it's
and was it folk
it.
music that you started with, or did you start with classical music and then move to folk music?
It was a few different things. So I started learning a little bit of guitar, and it was just basic kind of pop song, times they are changing and those kind of things. And then a little bit of classical piano. I didn't really fully feel at home until I started learning the flute when I was 11, and that just felt kind of easy and right.
And do you regard the flute as your main instrument?
Yeah, still. I mean, different times I'll do flute most of the time, sometimes I'll do guitar most of the time, and it all goes in waves.
But you've written about the flute and Irish music, haven't you? Is Irish music a particular passion of yours?
Yeah, I think when I first heard the flute and Irish music, I felt like it was kind of the perfect use of it, because I've studied a lot of different things like jazz and flamenco, and play a lot with an Arabic oud player, and traditional Irish music, Scottish music. That's been my kind of real passion.
Have you got Irish relatives or Scottish relatives?
My granny was Scottish, my granddad on the other side was Breton, and they have strong Celtic traditions, but I think it's more about the love of the music than a need to connect with their homeland, if that makes sense.
But your granny was an accordionist, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. Yeah, she was very keen, lots of different kind of music.
And so did you listen to her play
Yeah,
when you were a kid?
yeah, I think I didn't really take it that seriously as a kid. It was only when I'm older that I sort of think, oh yeah, that was a formative time probably.
Something went in subliminally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it sounds to me as though you embrace many different styles of music.
Yeah, I think that's probably attention deficit.
Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
Now, Rowan, there's an Irish connection for you, isn't there? You come from an Irish background.
Yeah, so I grew up in a village called Kinbarrow, which is sort of on the border between Galway and Clare.
Yes,
on the west coast
we
of
know
Ireland.
it. We've been there. We went for a wonderful episode there with Declan O'Rourke.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful place. And your dad was a musician.
Yeah, he was in a band called Didanan, which was very big in the 70s in Ireland. They're on an Irish postage stamp, so that's my dad's claim to fame.
So what do you remember about music in the house when you were growing up?
Well, both my parents play traditional music, traditional Irish music, and
What did your mum play?
she plays fiddle, so
Right.
that's where I got that from.
And your dad played?
He played banjo with Didanan, and he plays button accordion mostly now.
Right, so was there always a session going on at home?
Pretty much, yeah. But in those days, kids were allowed in the pubs, so I was always in the pub, sat under the table listening to music, playing Lego and trying to ignore it, but it didn't work.
Well, I've said to lots of people who I've met who come from folk families, presumably it could have gone one of two ways. I mean, you could have become an astronaut or an accountant or whatever and rebelled against the music background, or you could embrace it. Why do you think you embraced it? Why do you think you loved it so much?
I think in some ways I didn't have a choice, but
Did they teach you?
They did. They taught me, and they sort of, as soon as they could, they got me along to sessions to play with them. And I had a brief rebellion as a teenager, and I decided I was going to learn jazz. And I went to Trinity in London. I learnt jazz piano, and
what did they think about that?
I think they supported me in it. They're good parents.
Open-minded.
Open-minded, yeah. And it was still music, and yeah, I think they understood that I wanted something else. But then it was way too easy to fall back on, the thousands of tunes that I had in my head. So,
And so for you, the fiddle is the key instrument.
yes, definitely.
And the set of tunes. So Corinne Polwart said to me that she has a folk jukebox in her head that she just kind of goes through and plucks one out. Is that what you have? You have a set of tunes in your head and you just pick them out?
Yeah, I think it's quite a magical thing, really, because I probably know the names of only, 500 tunes or something.
Just 500.
But yeah, I mean that you make it sound, yeah. But
It sounds quite a lot to me. But
I suppose
there
it's
are
a bit like if you're an avid reader, you might know the names of 500 books, or I'm an avid tune player, so I know the names of 500 tunes. But then I know a good few thousands that I wouldn't be able to name. But if Philippe started one in a session, yeah, that one. Great.
it would suddenly come out of your fingertips.
Yeah.
And so in there is some hidden knowledge that
Yeah,
comes out.
I don't want this to sound like I'm a one-off. This is an
There are
experience.
many
that a
folk
lot
players who have that situation.
of, many folk players. Yeah.
Yeah. Rosie, let's bring you into the conversation because we've heard about your exposure to the natural world here on the Common, but what about your exposure to music when you were younger?
So both my parents were Morris dancers. We were part of a side in Midhurst called Knock 100 Shuttles, which is actually a northwest clog Morris side. So clog dancers from Lancashire and Cheshire, and they were long-standing, almost original members of Knock 100. And we would go singing afterwards in the pub. So I was always singing with my parents. And my dad was a great singer. My mum's a lovely singer, but really it was my dad's sort of dedication to singing. He was a great musician. just, amateur and did it for fun, and they had a barn dance band and things like that. But music was always on in the house, and particularly English harmony singing was the thing that...
What, like the
influenced
Watersons,
me.
that kind of thing?
Yeah, Watersons, and we always say that like Beggar's Velvet is one of our biggest influences. We sing a few songs that they sing. So yeah, I don't think I had a choice. A little bit like Rowan. That's what was on. That's what I loved. But
and it gets under your skin and into
it
your
does, and
psyche.
it's home.
And what about Morris dancing? Do you do any of that?
Not anymore, but I was very keen Morris dancer. My sister also. Oh, it's not there.
What's that?
The dew pond has vanished. It's a fairy pond. It just comes and goes when it feels like,
when the magic is not working today.
No, not today, but it's very mossy and lovely, so maybe we'll stay down here.
It's a lovely place. There's a green moss, isn't there?
Little dell, yeah. But it comes right up to here. It fills up.
The dew pond,
Yeah,
really?
about sort of 2 or 3 metres. Yeah, it's quite magical. There's
So
a bit of sludge.
We could probably stand where the sludge is,
Yeah.
couldn't we? But so, tell me about the joys of Morris dancing, because I feel as though I'm talking to 3 rather atypical people here. Do you know what I mean? Because, your contemporaries,
Yeah.
presumably, were not Morris dancing at school. Did you?
Oh, no.
No, exactly. So what did the kids at school think when you said, "Oh, I'm off Morris dancing this weekend"?
Yeah, I think I kept it very quiet. I did it from when I was 14.
You were like a secret
Yeah.
Morris dancer.
Yeah, until I was about 18, and then I was the head girl at school in the last year of school, and not that I was very good at it. But I went to dance at the premiere of the Morris movie or something in London, and I couldn't go to one of my things. I was meant to be doing something at school, and the headmaster decided that he would tell everyone in the whole school that that's why I couldn't go.
So he outed you as a Morris
outed me,
dancer
yeah.
in front of the entire school. How did that go down?
Oh, I don't think anyone cared enough about it to worry about at all. No, it's just something that I did with my family. It was my home time and what I did for fun outside of my school. So.
But it's just interesting to me that I suspect there's a different attitude in England than there would be in Scotland and
Yeah.
Ireland to somebody who gets involved in traditional dancing.
Yeah.
Because people tend to laugh, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Whereas in Scotland, it's a perfectly normal thing that you strip the willow or
Yeah.
Dashing White Sergeant or Strathspey or whatever, and in Ireland, presumably a similar thing too. Rome, when you were growing up, it wouldn't have been an odd thing for people to dance, but it's a slightly odd thing in England.
I think it is, and we
a
talk
shame,
quite a
isn't
lot
it?
about it, about English traditional music and dance, and why and how it's become separate from an unusual thing and something to be laughed at, and we do talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And
Have you got any theories?
I think particularly that it survived better in Scotland and Ireland and Wales as well, because of them being the slight oppression, let's say.
Yeah.
But oppressed people tend to hold on to their traditions in a much more visceral way, and England having its very troubling history, there's something about Englishness that is complex to talk about, and the idea that you're doing something English can be difficult for a lot of people, and it's not that I don't understand that, but I feel English traditional dance and song is from the bit of society generally that was also oppressed, and so not everyone in England was having a good time all the time, so I feel like this is the music of people who were also struggling, and that's
Working
the way
people.
working people. And obviously it did come down from semi-professional songwriters, and they were taking off from play for dancing and all of these things, but the dancing I do is from mill towns of Yorkshire and Cheshire and Lancashire. These people were working people and not having a brilliant time most of the time. It's not like they were trying to oppress people.
No.
So it's difficult. When people say Englishness, it means so many different things, and to me Englishness means this English heritage that I really look for is the bit of the world that is the same as everybody else, just trying to get along, and singing and dancing is part of your entertainment in life.
Yeah.
Pretty much, because you don't have anything else.
And Rowan, do you think that young people are coming to this tradition a bit more now than perhaps they would have done 30 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've seen a shift actually since I've been here. I remember when I first started playing English music, and I started playing for Rosie's Morris side, she got me involved straight away. There weren't hardly any young players. There were hardly any young people playing English traditional music. And there were a lot of people in England playing Irish traditional music. But now there's been a real shift in that. And people are starting to be proud of the fact they play English traditional music. And some of the younger Morris sides like Boss Morris and Five Rivers and stuff are really sort of opening up the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I went to an event on Tuesday night in Hackney in East London where Boss Morris were dancing, where Goblin Band were playing traditional English music, and Daisy Rickman was singing in Cornish, and there were about 1,000 young people there. And it was a very different feeling from the kind of feeling I often get in a folk audience, that I'm one of the young ones at 67. It was I felt like an old git in the audience. But I feel as though there is a young audience that's now starting to explore this, perhaps in partnership with Care for the Environment, as you guys do.
I think there's certainly a real interest in folklore as well. There's a certain... I think as people have become more disconnected with social media and sort of lack of community, as people move away from their families and people are a bit more disparate now, I think there's a real need for something to connect to, something that you can be part of, a community. And folklore takes you right back to your roots and makes you feel connected to your landscape and all of those things. And yeah, there are many, obviously, folk communities that you can join, nice local, if you join your local Morris side, you've suddenly got 30 friends you didn't have before. So it's, I think it's a good way for people to connect.
And it's a sort of anti-digital thing as well, isn't it? In the sense that I feel that craft skills are becoming more valued.
Yes.
That people are getting more involved in ceramics or knitting or whatever, making things with their hands. It seems to be linked to that same emotion to me. Have you noticed this, Philippe?
Yeah, I think there's a real yearning for that, for real connections and for real tangible things. I think that the pendulum throughout history is always going to swing one way than the other, isn't it? And folk music will rise and fall here and there, but it's been nice at the festivals seeing that the English traditional sessions are now much larger than they used to be, and hearing like some of our friends playing tunes, I'm like thinking, I'd really like to learn that. That's really beautiful, rather than thinking, what's that lumpy old nonsense?
It's that folk music stuff. Well, listen, let's hear some music here in the former dew pond. It'd be a great place to hear it.
Yeah.
Welcome world northeast, a shame it is to see odes to every zephyr, ne'er reverse to thee. Welcome black northeaster, or the German foam, or the Danish moorlands from thy frozen home. Tide we are of summer, tide of gaudy glare, showers soft and steaming, hot and breathless air. Tide of listless dreaming through the lazy day, drive your wind of winter, turn us out to play. Sweep the golden reed bed, crisp the lazy dike, hunger into madness every plunging pike. Fill the lake with wildfowl, fill the marsh with snipe, while on dreary moorland lonely curlew pipe. Through the black fir forest, thunder harsh and dry, shutting down the snowflakes off the curled sky. Hark the brave northeaster, breast high lies ascend, torn by holt and headland over heath and bent. Chime ye dabble darlings through the sleet and snow, who can override you? Let the horses go. Chime ye dabble darling through the doring blast, you shall see a fox die ere an abbey pass. Go and rest tomorrow hunting in your dreams, while our skates are ringing o'er the frozen streams. Let the luscious south wind breathe in lovers' sighs, while the lazy gallants bask in ladies' eyes. What does he but soften heart alike and pen? 'Tis the hard grey weather breeds hard Englishmen. What's the soft southwester? 'Tis the ladies' breeze, bringing home their true loves out of all the seas. But the black northeaster through the snowstorm hold drives the hearts of folk seaward round the world. Calmness came our fathers heralded by thee, conquering from the eastward lords by land and sea.
Beautiful. And I think I'm right in thinking that's a Charles Kingsley poem,
It is a Charles
isn't
Kingsley
it?
poem.
Who was the guy who wrote The Water Babies? So do you look for works of literature that inspire your writing sometimes?
Certainly, yeah. So it's almost exactly as he wrote it down. I think we missed off one verse because it's an adventure poem, but it has some slightly... it's of its time in some ways, and it's going back to that difficulty of Englishness in some ways. But it's a great adventure poem, and I love all the natural imagery in it. So we've kept it for that reason, and it's sort of about the north wind, and just it has that real feeling of the elements, and I love it.
It sounds quite challenging to sing as well. It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
It is, definitely. And a lot of our songs we like words. I mean, me and Rowan like words, Philippe's not so keen. But it's something I love. I love content, lots of content. You know, if we're going for a nature song, I like it to be all about that bit of nature, not just mention it in passing.
Right.
My bandmate from Old Spot, who played Baron on one of our previous albums, Joe Danks, he said our albums are pound for pound more words than any other band he's ever come across.
Good
So
value
that
for
was
money.
lovely.
Yeah.
Good value for money in the word department.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the physical process of singing it,
Mm-hmm.
do you have to sort of prepare yourself, get in a certain mindset to get the words to fit?
Yeah, I have some techniques that help me, especially when I'm about to record. There's lots of things that help you improve your diction, and it's something I've done a lot of work on because I'm a natural mumbler, I think. So singing, making sure, especially outside when you're not amplified and things, it's quite a challenge, but I think I've got better at it. Some people at gigs think that I'm not very good at it, and they will tell me in no uncertain terms that
really?
they couldn't hear a single word. But
What do you do when you're trying to warm up? What are the techniques you use?
tongue twisters are a classic for anyone who's doing any...
What sort of red
yeah,
lorry, yellow
yeah,
lorry?
all of those. And then my favourite one I do is I put my thumb in my mouth between my teeth, and I don't let myself open my teeth at all. So you have to go, welcome wild north east, a shame it is to see, owes to every zephyr and air of earth to thee. And you have to make as much of the sounds as possible without actually moving your jaw, and that just warms up your mouth a lot.
I'll go and try that at home.
Absolutely. For your next podcast.
And have you been inspired by other poets and other authors?
Definitely. And the one we're going to do next is a Barnes poem that's been set. So he turns up quite a lot in our set, and definitely other authors as well. From one of the earliest songs that I wrote that we still use is called Women of the Woods, and it's so inspired by the writing of Terry Pratchett, actually, his witches books. And I'm currently listening to Terry Pratchett. It's a constant in my life, and for all of us, I think, actually. So
What, listening to audiobooks or
listening, reading. He's just brilliant, and his way with words is definitely something that stays with me when I'm writing.
Fantastic. Let's keep moving. Where are we going to go now? We're going to go up higher.
Up to the Fairy Mound. Yeah.
Let's go. So it hasn't escaped my notice that Rowan and Rosie are more than musical partners.
Yes.
And I always say this to people who, is it because you found a good accompanist that you wanted to get into a relationship?
Yeah.
How did you meet in the first place, and how did you get together?
We got put on a ceilidh together. The first ceilidh I'd ever called, and I drove Rowan, who was also playing on it, from Brighton to Birmingham, and that's kind of it, really.
Well, that's obviously a great opportunity. And it just started in the car, did it?
Pretty much. And we were friends for about a year and a half, and then we've been together for 10 years. We just got married this May.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you have 2 children as well,
We
haven't
do
you?
have 2 children, yeah. 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so
What
we're very
happened to
busy.
them? Where are they today?
They're with my mum, who just lives down the road.
Oh, right, that's good. And what about touring with family commitments?
Yeah, that is it's becoming more and more tricky, and Wilford's just started school as well, so it sort of ties us more to Sheffield, which is where we live. I have to say most venues that we've played at have been really lovely and welcoming to the kids if we need to take them. We took them when they were babies mostly.
They're a bit more portable then, aren't they?
A bit more, yeah. But it is a challenge, and it's something that I think needs to be addressed, and in general in the wider music community, the idea that once especially mums start having to stay home, their musical careers tend to wane a little bit, and I know from my friends as well, in and out of the folk scene, they found that too. So
it's a challenge, isn't it?
It is a challenge, and I think now that we have got to this place where we're having to travel and our childcare costs and things, it's starting to be more of a challenge financially as well. Obviously we don't want to be charging venues things that they can't afford, but taking that next step into making sure that it's affordable for us is a real challenge, and the art sector is really struggling with that. So
yeah, and I suppose the children will be absolutely talented singers and musicians, will they? Is that, Rowan, are you already starting the lessons?
Well, Wilf, our 4-year-old, is not very interested in instruments, but he's a keen singer and a dancer. And the 2-year-old is obsessed with instruments, so I think he'll be the one to pick up the fiddle.
And Philippe, are you the gooseberry in this situation? Because, you know, what's it like working with a married couple?
Yeah, I'd say mediator. I used to watch them quite a lot as a duo.
He was our number one
various
fan.
gigs and stuff, and it was always fun watching the dynamic of, no, that's not where the capo goes. These guys are very good, I think.
They're quite well behaved.
But we do have a group chat on Messenger, and sometimes they'll talk to each other through the group chat, and I'm like, are you not in the same house as each other?
Is it like, have you ordered the groceries? Have you got the loo roll?
yeah.
Well, Philippe's wife, Ali, is now our agent as well, so it's
Keeping it in the
a
family
business.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. The colour palette is really remarkable at this time of year. I love it. There's the bracken dying away, looking brown at the base here, and then the heather, and then coming out of it are these mottled yellow and green and brown and golden leaves still on the trees, and then the evergreen conifers in parts of it as well. It's just wonderful this time of year for colour. Isn't it, Rosie? It's
Yeah, the
beautiful.
texture of it is so different. The silver birches always make everything look really magical, don't they? Whatever season it is.
These incredibly bright green lichens as well, all over there.
Yeah, almost
Birches.
acid green, aren't they? They're amazing.
Yeah, that's like a kind of a paint colour, isn't it, almost, on
Yeah.
there? We're going up a slight hill here, an incline anyway, through heather with sand underfoot, which is quite surprising actually here, and then gorse on our right and more autumnal trees surrounding us, and I think we can probably see the downs over there in the distance. But the sand's a bit surprising, isn't it?
It's very sandy here,
Yeah.
and then you get chalk towards the downs, and then a little bit clay towards the river and things. But this is one of the UK's remaining areas of lowland heath, and it's actually, I think I read that it's rarer now than tropical rainforest, this habitat. It's been managed quite closely. It's changed a lot in the last 20 years. They're really working towards extra habitat for reptiles in particular, I think.
Oh, right.
So you see all the log piles around, and you see big sheets of corrugated things. My neighbour Veronica, actually, who just lives opposite my mum, she's been working up here for years with the reptiles team.
What, they're trying to attract newts and that kind of thing? Or...
Yes, like sand lizards and snakes, and there's always an adder around in the summer.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out.
Surprising you,
Probably
you'll be right,
not
they'll
at
be
this
gone
time
now,
of
yeah.
year, but you just have to make a noise though, don't you? Isn't that, then they move when you make a lot of noise. So.
Yeah, they stay very still until you're right on top of them, and then you just hear the and hello.
Okay. It's wonderful terrain, isn't it?
It's gorgeous. It's really, and it's so varied throughout the whole commons. Okay, we're going up round here. This has changed a lot since I was young. Oh, dragonfly.
Oh yes.
So it's actually, Sussex apparently is doing quite well for dragonflies. And there's a special type that live up here and I can't remember the name of it. I hope that's one of them because that would be quite a turn up for the books, wouldn't
Look
it?
at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? Whoa.
Oh, it is-
right.
is it
It's
one
coming
of them?
right towards us with a
I'll take
rainbow-coloured tail.
I took a little screenshot of the information about the common and I wonder if it is. Black darter and the large golden ringed. Apparently they're the two dragonflies that are quite common up here.
What are the distinguishing features? Do we know?
No idea.
Okay. Well, it had an iridescent tail, didn't it?
Yeah, sort of greeny rings on the outside. On its back end.
Is this the fairy mound?
Well, the big one has overgrown with gorse now. But there are luckily 3 little fairy mounds. This is what I thought they were when we were younger. But there is a Roman road that runs from Fitzhall, it's just over there, across the common. So I think maybe it was something to do with that once upon a time. But the lasting effect is a nice heathland hump.
And you used to think that that's where fairies lived?
Definitely, yeah.
And possibly still do.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Will you sing a song here? Will you sing the Burns song?
I think
for
so,
us here?
yeah. It would be nice to have the
There's a little bit of a
heather.
breeze for the Westland winds. Could be very appropriate.
I think so.
Now whistling winds and slaughtering guns bring autumn's pleasant weather. The moorcock springs on whirring wings among the blooming heather. The waving grain wilds o'er the plain delights the weary farmer, and the moon shines bright as I rove at night to muse upon my charmer. The partridge loves the fruitful fells, the plover loves the mountain, the woodcock haunts the lonely dells, the soaring hern the fountain. Through lofty groves the cushat roves, the path of man to shun it. The hazel bush o'erhangs the thrush, the spreading thorn the linnet. Thus every kind the pleasure find, the savage and the tender. Some social join in leagues combine, some solitary wander. Avant away the cruel sway, tyrannic man's dominion, the sportsman's joy, the murdering cry, the fluttering gory pinion. But Peggy dear, the evening's clear, thick fly the skimming swallow. The sky is blue, the fields in view, all fading green and yellow. Come, let us stray a gladsome way to view the charms of nature, the rustling corn, the fruited thorn, and every happy creature. We'll gently walk and sweetly talk till the silent moon shines clearly.